Morning, everyone. Morning. How's everyone doing? We are live. Oh, busy day ahead of us. Busy day ahead of us. Hope you hunkered down, everyone, and I hope your Saturday is treating you well. Whether it's the end of the day, the middle of the day, or very early morning for many of you, especially you, Taco. Silly o'clock in the morning. But welcome, everyone. Hope you're good. Just waiting for the live data to become available for us, and we will hop on over to that scene. But yes, welcome, everyone. Hey, Moon, Mark, good to see you. Maru, Lab, good to see you. 7 PM for you. Oof, qualifying's going to be pushing it for you, isn't it, in the evening? But welcome. What does today have in store for us at Imola? Of course, yesterday a couple of offs for Hadjar and for Bortoletto. Nothing really to write home about. Lots of squirrely moments for the drivers out there at Imola, pushing to the limit. Of course, on this C6 tyre that we have never seen at never seen in the previous seasons. So yeah, we will keep an eye out, of course, on whether or not these drivers will be able to keep that tyre alive for the duration of a push lap at Imola. It seems to be some struggle more than others. No doubt the teams have made changes overnight to rectify some of the issues that they were seeing. And yeah, we should be in for a very interesting qualifying later on, guys. And an interesting practice as well. Qualifying just before bed. Hopefully you can sleep. I'm sure you will. Depends on how exciting it is. And yeah, be very riveting, won't it? If you're on a high after. I struggle to sleep after I do these watch-alongs as well. Can Ferrari do good this quali? What's my opinion? I still think... I think there's more hope for them to get a podium here. I do think, by the looks of it, the McLarens are just too good, as we expect, primarily due to the reasons that they're able to just keep their temperatures down in their tyres and just push for a whole lap compared to others. And I think that's going to see them comfortably get the front row lockout, barring a couple of mistakes, as we have seen from Lando, most particularly. And then Max has a lot to do in that Red Bull. That Red Bull, I'm not going to write him off, but that Red Bull does have issues, of course, with its temperature and its tyres. So he may have the potential of being able to qualify, but it may be more akin to what we saw in Melbourne, where his tyres just fell off at the end of the lap, whereas McLaren will be able to probably see that through for the duration of the whole lap. Ferrari, they looked okay in FP1, but FP2, Hamilton said they made 2 very minor tweaks, which we know he likes to do, that affected the brakes or so forth, so they're going to be changing those back, no doubt, to get comfortable. And yeah, Mercedes look... Antonelli didn't really get much running. George said he was complaining about temps as well. So I think for the most part there is an opportunity for those positions behind the McLarens. I think it's going to be a little bit unpredictable there, but we'll see. But the live data's gone live, so let's switch. Morning, Ashley. Welcome. Morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Beautiful Saturday here in the UK, down in London. So, yes, looking forward to getting out later on, seeing some old friends. But thank you for subscribing as well, Ashley. Yes, welcome. Welcome anyone who is new to the channel and you've recently found us. Welcome. The community's only growing bigger here, and I appreciate you guys tuning back in as always. Even if you don't say hello in the chat, I'm very similar when I watch live streams as well. I like to just sit back and take in the content. So, yeah, hopefully, well, the fact of it, you keep tuning back in and hitting the like and subscribe button is, shows that I'm doing something good here. How did I get into doing this watch along? Did I wake up one day and set it up? Thank you, Miriam. So I had the idea for a little while. I just just literally popped into my head one time because I've seen football watch-alongs and stuff like that. But I had the idea of, I wonder if I can do like the track map and stuff. But I never really did it. Never really got around to doing it. And then the missus really pushed me to do it one day. She went, why do you do that? Why don't you do that? And I just went, yeah, you know what, I should. And the first one was really successful and just really enjoyed it. And yeah, here we are with 3 years later. Ferrari have brake problems unless they get that sorted. It's Lando and Piastri fighting for pole. I mean, even if Ferrari do get their brake problems sorted, I don't think they've got an opportunity of pole position. So I could be wrong. Those updates may work. They may get that car in a sweet window. But yeah. Lurker, exactly, JT. The lurkers. Thank you, the missus. Yeah, you have her to thank for it. She's as she likes to call it, she's my creative director. What do I think on Colapinto? What are my thoughts on Franco Colapinto? I like Franco. I think it was a bit disappointing that, of course, there wasn't a position for him on the grid at the start of the season. But I also don't like the fact that he's taken the place of another rookie. I think Doohan should have been afforded more time, but that's the way of F1 these days. I'm glad to see Colapinto back on the grid, even if it is for 5 races. But yeah, the way that things are going at Alpine at the moment, who knows what they're going to decide to do with their team. But I think this race, don't expect too much from him. He has raced at Imola before in F2. I think he won here in his last season in F2, actually. But don't judge him too harshly. He is jumping straight into a car that he's not driven. It could be very different in performance to the Williams, of course, different engine. He says all that he has to get used to. He has a good benchmark in Gasly, so if he can be anywhere near Gasly, that'd be tremendous. And yeah, he needs just a solid weekend. I think he just needs a solid weekend. Nothing to kind of write home about, crashes, incidents, and so forth. And hopefully, he can just have a decent foundation to build upon in the next few races. Good thing for him is that he's got like 3 races in a row to get straight into. So no rest for the wicked. Can we get a McLaren upset in quali? Well, I think the McLaren upset will come from one of their drivers making mistakes. That's pretty much the crux of it, isn't it? Because they haven't maximised that McLaren. Like, they just haven't maximised it. Max has been able to, no pun intended, maximise his car, that Red Bull, but the Red Bull is still 2 tenths slower on a push lap to the McLaren. But when the pressure moment hits, and the pressure moment is there in Q3, they haven't really been able to fully deliver the potential of that McLaren. And that's why Max has been able to force them into those positions and get those pole positions. He could do the same again here this weekend. My only concern is that the Red Bull might not last on that C6 tyre for the whole duration of a push lap, which we saw drivers have issues with yesterday. So Piastri is a tyre magician, going to be hard to beat. Well, he's definitely, I wouldn't say he's a tyre magician. It's actually been one of his biggest weaknesses over the last 2 seasons, but he has improved. That is for sure. And that's what Piastri has done year in, year out. We very rarely see the rookie drivers come in now into these cars in modern F1 and really get on top of the tyre management from the get-go. It's not like the past. So Piastri, it's taken him a couple of years to really kind of get on top of that, it seems. But what he always had was that pace behind him. But he's shown that progression, and look where he is now, turned around a 20-point deficit at the start of this season. I mean, already 6 races in now. A lot of that is attributable to Lando Norris, but Piastri has just been solid. He's done what he's needed to do. And yeah, when it's come to those crunch moments to get first place, whether it be in pole position or whether it be in the race, he's done it. He's done it when it mattered, so... If Max is in the McLaren, we'd all been complaining about another boring season. Potentially. Yeah, potentially. Do I think next season most teams will be competitive with new regulations and proper tyre management upgrades like McLaren's? Next season is a complete unknown. to be honest, Dark God. We could have very well a season like we had in 2010 with Brawn. I think it's such an unknown. The regs are still not solidified for next year, like the whole battery power unit issue, the distribution there, moving it from 50-50 to like 70-30 or something. It's going to be a very interesting season to tune into, because I think it could be chaotic. Or on the flip side, one team could absolutely nail it, like I said, Brawn did in 2010, or Red Bull the last couple of seasons, and one team just dominates. I hope, for our sakes, for viewers as fans of the sport, that we don't get that. We don't want domination of any kind. I want hard-fought battles for race wins. So, morning, JR. Good to see you. Good to see you. Is Audi joining next season? Audi is joining next season, Sam. Yes. Yeah, that'll be the first season where they are Audi F1. Yes. Max has minimised the damage by still being 32 points short, where we thought they were the fourth fastest car at the start of the season. Yeah, I agree. I think the thing is that it's in Max's hands. It's not the fourth fastest car; it's the second fastest car. But in another driver's hands, it's comfortably the fourth fastest car, maybe even the fifth or sixth fastest car. As we've seen from Yuki and, of course, Liam Lawson. So, yeah, that Red Bull, Max is doing wonderful things with it. You can't deny that. Whatever your opinions are of him, you have to respect the talent that he has. And all you can do when you know you don't have the machinery underneath you is try and force your opponents into mistakes. And at the moment, that's what he's doing. He's keeping the pressure. He's applying the pressure. And you've got to think at some point this season, at some point, the McLarens are going to trip over each other. Like, they've got to. Surely we can't go 24 race weekends where they don't bang wheels or, like, fight each other, and then Max is able to at least get involved and capitalise on that. So, thanks, Ollie. Much appreciated. Good to see you again. Hey, Asira. Red Bull isn't the full fastest car. They're third or second. It's just difficult to control. Yeah, exactly. 10 years experience to drive the RB21 into P3. Do you think that Yuki would deliver this race? Well, we'll see. We will see. Of course, Yuki has gone well here in the past. He's very familiar with this circuit because AlphaTauri, RB, this is I don't know if it is now, because I think they moved their operations to the UK. I could be wrong there. But this was their home track, their test track. They did lots of testing around here. So Yuki very familiar with driving an F1 car around here. Do I think Daniel had a championship in him if he had proper time and the team? Who? Daniel Ricciardo? I think he did. Yeah, I think he did have it. I think if he stayed at Red Bull, he potentially could have won a driver's championship. Yeah, I think the problem with Daniel is that he saw the way and the direction of the team and the way it was going, in favouring more so Max, and probably the inner workings behind the scenes of Max Verstappen's camp. Pushing, obviously, for Max to be number one, as any camp would do for their own driver. But I think what maybe Daniel underestimated was how much Christian Horner and Helmut Marko and that truly loved Daniel. So I think he kind of prematurely left Red Bull, and Christian, that's why he got eventually another opportunity at Red Bull when he probably didn't deserve it. Morning, Andy. Good to see you, mates. Will the screen stay like this, or you change it to the actual cars? So the screen stays like this, Michaela. So any watch-along stream cannot show actual footage of the cars because of copyright reasons. But what we do have is the full data here available, lap times, sector times, etc. More information, way more information than you have available on a TV broadcast. And then you have the track map here where there's just icons that go around the track, so we know the positions of the drivers on the circuit at any one time. And of course there's yellow flags that pop up, red flags, and so forth. This is kind of really how I watch F1 now, not just because of the watch-alongs, but genuinely, if I wasn't doing these, I think I'd watch the race more so through this, because you just get a full picture of what's happening in any session and in the race compared to what you do. You don't realise until you've watched F1 through data, you don't realise how little you actually know what's happening in the race on the TV coverage. Is anyone else going to be dropped? It's kind of ridiculous. What? This just generally this season? I don't know. But there we go. Counter is down to 0, and I believe the green light is open. Pit exit. Well, green light is on. Pit exit is open. FP3, the final session of today, is underway, and Lando Norris is going to be the first driver out there, as you can see from his icon. Well, his icon should be moving to the end of the pit lane. His speedo was moving. Yep, there we go. Slight delays here as the session gets underway, which always seems to be the case with F1 this year. I've noticed with F1 this year that the data transmittal has been a bit lacking when sessions initially get underway. Not much, not to do with me. It's to do with with F1 in itself, which is a bit frustrating, but it will sort itself out eventually. TV is only better for like drama like crashes. Yeah. I mean, look, I have the TV coverage alongside me, so I can showcase to you guys exactly what is happening, all the replays and so forth. Not entirely sure what's going on with the data here, by the way, guys. I'm just going to reload the track map and just see what's occurring here. I think the track map data's frozen, which is a real pain. I will just double check and see if that is the case on anyone else's live streams, of course. Sure, right now. Yes, so it is. This is yeah. So this is F1 right now, guys. This is F1 data. The track map is frozen for everyone. So I'm 45 seconds ahead of F1 TV. There we go. There we go. Do I expect rookie Fernando to stay in F1? No. So Fernando Alonso has got a contract to 2026, but he will not be. Oh, what is going on with the F1 data, by the way? We need another car out on circuit. That's what we need. Lando's the only driver out on circuit at the moment, so maybe it's just an issue with Lando's car. As apparently he's come back into the pit lane as the speedo has dipped down. So data is very similar to how you watch in the team garages. Great info. Exactly, Ashley. Yeah, exactly. V10, we're the best to watch. The sound of them was insane. Yes, I can testify to that now because I did go to Goodwood Festival of Speed last year and I got to hear the beautiful V10 in action, and it was unbelievable. Yeah, so apologies, guys, if you're just tuning in. Dave, good to see you, mate, all the way from Thailand. Lando's the only driver who's gone out and done a sighting lap. He's actually dipped back into the pit lane, but there was an issue with the track map, which is not in our control at the moment, so no one else has decided to go out there. Now, hopefully this isn't going to be a boring practice session. We should see some push laps, guys, but what we will potentially see is maybe a lack of running because of this session not being that representative. Now you can see the track temperature is 46 degrees right now. In qualifying, that's going to dip down probably 10 degrees, maybe 6 degrees. So the teams don't want to unnecessarily use tyres that they want to keep for qualifying and the race tomorrow. When is quali starting? Quali is starting at 3 PM UK time. So that is, what's the time now? That is 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours time is when qualifying is going to get underway. But at the moment, there's not really anyone looking to get into the car. Pierre Gasly looks like actually he is getting into the car now, just getting his helmet ready. But there's no one really sitting in the car. Max Verstappen is out of, just in the back of the garage, chatting to a few friends by the looks of it. Piastri is also out of the car, so no one's making a rush to get out on track at the moment, and I'm not surprised, really. I'm not surprised. It may be quite quiet until we get to around the half-hour mark. With those, of course, ultra-soft tyres, the C6 tyres, which we're seeing here for the first time this season. We've seen them be used multiple times already. Because it's most likely that the medium compound tyre and the hard compound will be used for tomorrow. Yes, it's most likely going to be a one-stop strategy. The reason for that? Well, the reason is it's because the pit stop loss time here at Imola is very long. It's around 27 to 30 seconds, I think it is. It's pushing 30 seconds, and the reason for that is just it's such a long pit stop here, and that means that there's no point making an additional pit stop because that's a considerable amount of time to try and make up on circuits at a track where it's difficult to overtake. So yes, even with falling tyre deg, they just always set up their cars and force themselves into a one-stop. So here we go, Lance Stroll. Can always rely on Stroll to provide us some action out on track, as his icon seems to be working okay. So let's see if his transponder is working okay as he gets out on circuit. And it is indeed, yes. Can always rely on the Aston Martins. Do I think Franz Hermann deserves to be in F1? I think that joke's been done to death now, isn't it, this weekend? When is the race tomorrow? That is at 2 p.m. UK time. What is the pink head padding material below the green light announcement? So that is for the... what is it? The headrest material. It's the headrest material. So, you know, like you see like the loopy thing that kind of goes around, like a U shape around them. And they take it off to get in and out of the car. You would have seen in Baku where Lewis Hamilton, it was lifting and it was squishy and he had to hold it down. That's their headrest material. So I don't know what the difference is between pink and blue, because sometimes it's blue head padding material. I imagine some of it is harder than others, or softer than others. But there we go, Hamilton out on circuit. So, big day for Lewis Hamilton, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, every session is a big session for Lewis Hamilton, but in particular because he had that Ferrari in what looked like a very good window in FP1. But come FP2, some slight changes, once again, as he always likes to do, tweaking with the setup. Some slight changes made to the setup that supposedly also had an effect on the brakes. So have they been able to sort out those issues, and have they been able to find a decent window of operation for that Ferrari? Some updates here this weekend as well, mostly to the rear of the car. Some brake cooling in inlets as well. So we will see if he's going to be able to make some headway for pretty much the second home race of the year, or the first home race of the year for Ferrari, of course, as we head to Monza later on in the season. You didn't know that there were different types, nor that they were mandated. No, I mean, I must admit, I don't pay too much attention to that, the safety kind of side of things of like the padding and so forth. But afternoon, Paul. Welcome, Cape Town. Can we expect any Ferrari magic? We'll see. I mean, Charles Leclerc has kind of complained a lot this weekend about the car. He was complaining yesterday about turn 5, 9 and 11. So arguably the three highest loaded corners on the circuit. He was complaining that is where they massively need to improve and focus on. So, but let's keep an eye on Lewis. He had DRS open there. So this is kind of a mini push lap for him on the medium compound tyre, which is the old soft tyre. There are some rumours that we could maybe even see the medium tyre used in qualifying. So, yeah, which could potentially be the case as Lewis Hamilton goes fastest, understandably, out of anyone in that first sector. A 24.496, but I'm not sure what that was. I think we saw sub 24 yesterday, so still quite some way off of what we saw, but I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the times that we saw in FP2 because of the track temperature at the moment, which is slightly decreasing, 46 degrees now rather than, what was it, the 46.5 that we saw at the start of this session 10 minutes ago. Do I think that RB can bounce back in the race and may win Imola like last year? You mean Red Bull? I'm going to say no, and the reason why I'm going to say no is nothing to do with Max's ability. It's to do with the fact that, like we saw in Miami, that Red Bull is struggling with its tyre temperatures and keeping them in a decent window. The tyres, he just cannot... Well, the Red Bull at the moment, no matter how talented Max is, that car and its characteristics just is not very good on its tyres. And that is where the McLaren at the moment is supreme. And which is a real honestly a real opposite of what the Red Bull was. The main reason the Red Bull was so quick in or was so dominant, shall we say, in the first couple of seasons of these regs was, yes, of course they were quick over a single lap, but they were still pushed when it came to single lap pace. But they could just make their tyres last for absolute forever in the first 2 seasons. And now, on the flip side, it's McLaren with, of course, the clever brake, however they're managing their brakes with the brake drums and so forth, the cooling there. They're just supreme in that regard. So not only are they quick over a single lap, but they're able to just know that they're going to be able to go quicker for longer. So thanks, Pat, much appreciated. Grandpa Smurf, hello from Australia, Sydney. Hey, down under. Whoever gets pole here will win. Overtaking is kind of hard here unless there is a higher tyre deg, which maybe strategy will be. Well, that's the thing that we're hoping for, Gavoka. Yes, I mean, my expectations are very low for tomorrow's race. If the McLarens do get out up front, I mean, I almost want Verstappen to be out up front on pole, because I think that would provide us a more intriguing race, because I think the McLarens would actually have an opportunity of overtaking Verstappen on track. And it being very close between those 3 up front, if of course Lando's able to sort out his qualifying for once. I have much more faith in Piastri sticking it on the front row than I do Lando at this moment in time. But that will at least provide us some on-track action, I think. And I think the McLarens would eventually have a sufficient tyre delta to overtake Max. If Max is behind the McLarens and it's a front row lockout for the McLarens, you can arguably say whoever qualifies on pole, yeah, out of those 2 will be seeing it from lights out to checkered flag. I hope that's not the case, but hello from Indonesia. Welcome, Raditya. When did I start watching F1, Minty? I can't actually pinpoint when I started watching F1. I think I was around 5 to 7 years old. My granddad was a racing driver back in the 60s. Not to like F1 level, but he was a racing driver. He raced all around the UK, sometimes abroad. And he loved motorsport. And I remember going around his when I was younger and watching F1, hearing Murray Walker, watching Mika Hakkinen, David Coulthard, Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill. So yeah, I was young. So yeah. What the fluff? Nobody subscribed. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciate everyone who has been subscribing to the channel as well. If it hasn't popped up as an alert, that is because if you don't have your subscription set to public, it won't show up as an alert. So yeah, big thank you for everyone tuning in as Colapinto goes fastest in the first sector there at 24.4. So Lewis Hamilton doing a practice start at the end of the pit lane, I think it seems. Hey, the missus. Hi, chat. You started watching 96 when you were 6 years old. Good age, good age. You're a year older than me. I'm 91. Where is the princess given? She is currently asleep. She's napping. She's having her morning nap. Giving her dad and her mum some well-needed respite. Remember the 60s cigar shapes on the news when a Brit won? Who is the Mrs. Favourite driver and team? Oh, I can ask her. Who's your favourite driver and team? Never. I don't think I've ever asked you this. Oh, she's thinking long and hard about this now. Okay. Well, stay tuned. We'll get a response back to you shortly. You like Daniel Ricciardo? That he was your favourite driver? You liked his personality? Okay. You like Charles? Oh, I wonder why you like Charles. I wonder why she likes Charles. Do I expect a red flag in quali, Arnold? Maybe. So, Ham's faster than others on medium as of now. Could this be improvement? Too early to say. I think I would suspect that Lewis probably has a lot of high fuel in the car as well, and will just be doing some long run gathering here. Maybe Charles will be doing the same, and they might put on some ultra softs at the end of the session. I keep calling it ultra softs. They're soft tires. They're not ultra softs, but they are ultra softs, but they're softs, guys. Lewis and Charles probably doing some long runs right now to see if some changes and no doubt setup alterations they've made throughout the night have had the desired effect. Because really, where Ferrari obviously haven't been that quick over a single lap, but they've really let themselves down on their race pace, haven't they, recently? I mean, you and Charles are both dashingly handsome. Thank you, Murray. Thank you. At least you say it. The missus doesn't say it that very often. There's lots of similarities. That the hair colour, the stubble. What's that? Not the bank account, though. That's the big difference. The bank account... The bank account and the lifestyle is very different. That's from the missus. Yeah, I have a few less zeros on the end of my bank account compared to Charles Leclerc. But Lewis fastest in all sectors at the moment, guys, as he is coming around the last corner through turn 18. And there we go. Fastest in every sector. 15.8 for him. Not bad. Not bad. I missed living in Monaco. Yeah. Vamos, Franco Colapinto. Yes. Welcome, Gustavo. Colapinto there in P3. Now, not too bad. A nice benchmark to himself. Okay. Yeah, cool. No worries. You don't know why Alpine are using lower downforce. Doesn't really make sense around here. So the reason they'll be using lower downforce, Taco, is purely thinking of the race. So it's a very tricky track to overtake. And if you can manage the car through Sector 2 and Sector 3, and you look at the data and you see that you're not really going to lose that too much time around your competitors, then it's worth having that lower downforce package. That's why Williams tested the lower downforce rear wing compared to Carlos Sainz yesterday as well, because you're just going to be... There's only one overtaking opportunity through here, and that's through turns... That's down basically the start-finish straight. I know it's not straight, but you know what I mean. From the last corner to turn 2. And if you've got a lower downforce package, then it doesn't matter if someone's quicker in the corners than you. They're just not going to be able to overtake you. So yeah, that's why the teams probably at some point, or probably have at some point throughout all the practice sessions thus far, dabbled with the lower downforce setup just to see how much they can... I mean, it's a fine balance as well, because with these tyres, with it being a step softer than last year, how much sliding will you get on the lower downforce setup as Ollie Behrman goes into P2? So it's... They need to, because you don't want your tyres to fall off a cliff, because you want to make that one stop work. So, yeah. What was the issue with Charles's helmet in FP1? So they have made some changes to the... so he was getting an upwash of the car. So I don't know if it was his actual helmet, because Lewis Hamilton wasn't having the same issue. But normally... Like there's obviously airflow that goes over the cockpit of the car, and for some reason, maybe it was the design of Charles's helmet. The wind, the air was just pushing his helmet up slightly. Now Lewis wasn't having that issue, and both of them don't have the little plastic. You know, like you normally saw like the pathetic plastic windscreen or whatever it was out on the cockpit of the car, just behind the steering wheel. Well, that's to direct airflow around the car. Like it does have an actual effect. So, yeah. Hey, Letty. Could I do the same for women racers? Not enough publicity for them. We discussed this yesterday, Letty. I would love to cover F1 Academy. I'd love to cover F3 and F2. However, F1 is holding that back. They're not really doing a good enough service to all of the junior drivers and the women drivers as well in F1 Academy, because F1 is the only series where we actually get this level of data. We don't even get a timing screen available from F1 TV for F1 Academy, F3 or F2, which is a real shame, because I'd love to cover every series. So, but everyone's welcome here if you love F1, and yeah, hopefully that changes in the future, and I can bring more watch-along content for you all, because I love motorsport. I love it, and I want to bring more to you. Of course, F1 with my full-time job and so forth. I don't really have the capacity to do other motorsport series like World Endurance Championship and stuff like that. But yeah, F1 is for me where it's at, and I'd love to do the others, but we need the data to be made available to us for that. So, but here we go. Drivers out on circuit now. The ones that we want to keep an eye out on: Lando Norris, Piastri, Verstappen. Piastri up there in P2. Verstappen fastest at the moment with a 1:15.579. Tsunoda also out there as well. Let's see how he gets on. He's a couple of attempts down on Max, pardon me, in the first sector and also in the middle sector. So this isn't going to be good enough for him to... it's not really going to be good enough. Tsunoda goes P5, so a second off of Max isn't great, is it? Even if you are different setups and so forth. So Lando's going fastest in the middle sector, but it was a bit slower than Max in the first sector. Hey Graham, good to see you, mates. I'm doing very well, thank you. There'll be so much work for stewards in quality for impeding. Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. What are my Q3 predictions? I still think as Lando goes up there into P2, I still think it's going to be between the two McLarens and Verstappen. I am actually wishing for Verstappen to be on pole. I really am, because I think it will provide us a better race tomorrow with the Red Bull having tyre temperature issues on at the moment compared to the McLarens. I think that will actually provide a decent race for us and a crossover period to look forward to in the race. Whereas if it is the McLarens out up front, on pole, on the front row, it could be more of a boring race. F1 really needs to get on top of that. I agree, Jarvis. Yeah, I'm really surprised that they don't have that data available, because so many more people would pay more attention to it. So, do I think the P2 slot has better chance to overtake as it gets the inside line? Well, with today's racing rules, yes, because they will be entitled, if they get sufficiently alongside, as we know, to the front mirrors. Or the rear view mirrors, sorry. I mean, they're front mirrors anyway, but the rear view mirrors of the car, they'll be able to force that driver on the outside out of racing room. And of course, the first corner well, no, actually, no, they've removed it now, haven't they? There's not sausage curbs there anymore. Sorry, I was going to say, I'm taking that back. There used to be sausage curbs on the inside at turn 1, but not no more. As Hadjar's gone fastest in the first sector, by the way. Ooh, Hadjar, that Red Bull, RB was very quick in the first sector yesterday in Hadjar's hands. He's actually gone quicker than Max Verstappen in that first sector. He's on the medium compound tyre as well, so he's not on the ultra soft. Ultra soft, Scott, soft. C6 is the soft here for this weekend. I'm sorry for confusing you guys. Albon up into P7. But drivers, I imagine they're doing some long... Hamilton's in the pits. Yeah, I mean, they may be just testing out this tyre. I'm surprised Alonso is using the hard tyre at the moment, to be honest with you. I'm quite surprised by that, because I thought that's a tyre that they'd want to save for tomorrow, for the race. Max on pole will end up with a defending session versus the Papaya again. Yeah, and I think that will provide us more entertainment as Hadjar goes fast. What? Hadjar fastest? Faster than Charles Leclerc? What? Hadjar for pole position later on, guys. Hadjar for pole position? Oh my goodness. Considering Lawson is down in 12th there, Hadjar's 1.17 seconds quicker than Lawson. That was very quick. Of course, we don't know engine modes, we don't know fuel loads, etc. They could still be hiding some in their back pocket, of course. George Russell is out there at the moment as well. He's starting a lap. So let's keep an eye on the Mercedes. So Kimi Antonelli only did a 1:16.7 there. I don't know if he got impeded or whatever, but it's a very busy circuit at the moment. Let's see what George Russell can do, shall we? In that Mercedes, George Russell heading through turn 5 and turn 6. Very quick chicane there. And a 24.338. That is 4 tenths off of Isaac Hadjar in the first sector, guys. What? You know Max will do one of his lunges in the first corner if he's second on the grid. I mean, of course he will. Of course he will. Just watching an onboard of Fernando Alonso. What's he complaining about? He's complaining about the Ferraris. Oh my goodness, what was he doing there? Yeah, I mean the Ferrari in the last corner. Both Ferraris think they're alone on the track always. Do you think Alonso is still a little bit salty about his time at Ferrari? As Verstappen goes fastest in the first sector now. 23.909. Last year's P1, yeah, it was a 114.7 was last year's pole position. So we're still yet to get anywhere near that. You can see now the track temperature has dramatically fallen, by the way, guys. 39.7 degrees. So this is why we're now seeing some push laps. We'll probably see drivers maybe dip into the pit lane and get onto the soft compound tyres as Max goes fastest again in the middle sector. So here we go. Max. He's just a couple of hundredths quicker than Norris in the middle sector. So what lap time is this going to be? This is going to be a couple of attempts quicker, for sure. Oh, more than a couple of attempts. 4 attempts quicker, pretty much. 15.1. So yeah, we're pushing. We're pushing towards that pole position lap of last year. But this is on the medium compound tyre. Now, will we see this medium compound tyre last? Will we see this medium compound tyre used, in qualifying? Because it is the soft of last year. There is theories that, of course, some teams will be better off using this tyre because they'll be able to keep it in the right temperature window for the duration of the lap and be able to push on it and lean on it. Whereas the soft compound tyre, teams haven't been able to do so. As Lando is improving here as well, by the way. He's about a tenth off of Max in the first sector, but the second sector he is slightly ahead. Sonoda, a much better improvement from him, but still 9 tenths, nearly a full second off of Verstappen there. So I think Max has definitely found some confidence in that Red Bull overnight. He wasn't happy yesterday with that Red Bull as Lando comes across the line and loses a bit of time there in the last sector. He was 2 tenths down. 2 tenths down. So I wonder what happened with Lando there and what he may be. Did he lose a bit of time? Did he make a bit of an error? We have seen him in the part yesterday have a few wobbles through the last couple of corners. So just watching his on board as he goes through the last couple of corners here. And what did he do? Seemed to be okay. Just a bit slower. Hey Nate, good to see you. Is there a high chance of rain for qualifying? The clouds in the background TV. I'll have a look. I don't think so. Unless the weather report has changed overnight. Let's have a look. But guys, thank you for tuning in. If you can hit the like button, let's get this stream to 1,000 likes, can we? Surely there's 1,000 of you in here who haven't hit that. Well, 800 of you that haven't hit that like button. Go on. What's my thought about Alpine giving Franco only 5 races to prove himself? I think it's absolutely ridiculous, to be honest with you. 5 races is nowhere near enough time. So, as Russell is stating, there's quite a lot of bouncing through turn 5. Not lap time limiting, but feels a bit odd. Not good. Right, what was I looking for? Imola. Come on. I've got no battery in my... I've got no battery in my keyboard. That's good. That's good, isn't it? I look nothing like Charles. I know. I'm better looking than Charles Mohammed. What did you miss, guy? Not much at the moment. Not much, really. Drivers just getting out there and doing some laps on the medium compound tyre, which is last year's soft compound. So... we should hopefully... Oh, the track temperature just shot up a couple of degrees there. So if the sun comes out, it really is affecting the track temperature quite a bit. Thank you for the sub. You saw the clear waiting for Lewis out of the pits. What was that about? Not sure. Not sure. At this race, we'll have 5 different Alpine drivers for the season. Yeah, I mean, there's rumours. I don't know if there's a limit. Is there a limit on how many drivers they can have in a car for one season? I don't know if there is an actual rule for that. In theory, Red Bull always take 2 hard tyres. Then why don't use one of them? Oh, it's a double yellow. Has Lawson gone off here? Has Lawson just gone off? There's a double yellow, or has Lawson just taken... he's moving, so I think Lawson... Gasly was going quite slow there, or was it Gasly who had to take avoiding action of Lawson? There's definitely been a moment between Lawson and Gasly. Let's see what has happened here. It did look like that Lawson got very close to Gasly. So did he get caught up by Gasly, or has he just had a moment himself? It's obviously exactly where Isaac Hadjar had his moment yesterday and brought out the red flag very late on. So yeah, Lawson has gone off there. No, Lawson has gone into a spin. So Gasly was just coming through. Oh, Val, welcome to the pit crew. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I think there was a member yesterday after the stream ended as well from Tracy. So Tracy, thank you for joining the pit crew as well. Much appreciated. So watching, still waiting to see exactly what's happened with Lawson. But is it the same issue? Is it an identical issue that Hadjar had yesterday, where that car just really gets unsettled on the first curb? Still yet to show a replay. Why are F1 TV waiting so long to show this? So here we go. He's gone through the second corner, over the curve. It's identical to Isaac Hadjar yesterday, except he didn't go all the way into the wall. It is identical. So that RB car is not liking that curb. Okay, so they're clearly running that RB car very low on the rear. You could see it from the rear of the car, the rear angle. It goes over that curb, and as it comes off of it, the sparks really fly off. And yeah, it's just unsettled and goes round. But both RB cars doing exactly the same this weekend, as Verstappen is improving here, guys, in that first sector, a 23.851. So he's finding time here. Of course, he's on a brand new set of mediums right now, which is the soft compound of last year. How has Red Bull's upgrades been? Too early to say. Really, Red Bull's upgrades need to be directed at being able to manage their tyres better. And it's too early to say whether that's had any desired effects. So as Max does improve with a 15 flat there, 115 flat. Does the weight of the driver affect the times? The weight of the driver can affect the times, but they all aim to be around, what is it, a minimum weight? I think, is it 85 kilos? Is it 80 kilos? I think it's 80 kilos they have to be within, so. You walked in Tamburello, that old corner was so close to the wall, it was scary as hell. Glad it's a chicane, yeah. Alpine just looking for a driver who doesn't cost them millions in crash damage. And you said you thought it was 4, Taco. 4 is the limited amount of drivers. Limited amount that you can have in a season. So, I mean, they can still have one more then, can't they? Because they've had 3 thus far. So there's rumours about Perez. I mean, it seems like really that seat is just on offer to the highest bidder, isn't it? In Alpine, so. Will Ferrari get a podium in their home GP? Maybe. I really don't know. It's too early to say. I mean, the Ferraris have just been doing some... they've done some push laps, but they're also doing some long runs as well. We've got 26 minutes remaining here of this FP3 session, and I do suspect, with a lot of drivers in the pits right now, I do suspect we'll see some push laps. But you can see the fluctuation of the track temperature, by the way, guys. So, overcast, it is quite cloudy in Imola at the moment, but this track temperature is fluctuating quite dramatically from around 45 degrees to below 40 degrees. So you're talking 4 to 5 degree track temperature difference fluctuations if the sun is behind the clouds or not. So that can play a big factor to qualifying later on, who times their qualifying lap well, and of course the race tomorrow also. I heard lighter drivers have slightly more advantage because they can place the weights in specific areas to maximise performance. Yeah, if the lighter you are, of course, you're able to have a bit more leeway with that, exactly, like weight distribution in the car. But yeah, I mean, it's like fuel, as we said. Every 10 kilograms of fuel in the car equates to 3 tenths of lap time. So yeah, the drivers, that's why they have to stay within a certain weight limit, don't they? That's why they're all very small and stuff. And if they're 6 foot, they're skinny as anything. Sonoda should join the pit crew. He spends a good amount of time in the pit in free practice and quali. We need Lando versus Oscar this GP. If no one else will bring comp other than Max, I want to see the McLarens fight. Yeah, I'd love to see that as well. Will it happen? I don't know. I feel like we need Max on pole, though, for it to be interesting tomorrow. Because he will put up a fight. He will try and hold on to track position. And that Red Bull, his tyres are most likely to fall off quicker than the McLarens, which will at least make a crossover period worth interesting to keep an eye out on. Can I explain the tyre history section of the overlay? What do the two columns represent? What do the numbers represent? I'm guessing the slash is used versus new. You are pretty much bang on there, David. Yes, so if it has no slash through it and it is clean, like Russell's here, that means it is a brand new set of medium. That is a brand new set of medium compound tyres. 6 is the tyre history, so that's the amount of laps that have been conducted on that set of tyres at this moment in time. And if it has this slash for it, basically with the brackets, that means it is a used tyre, and likewise, that's how many laps it's had on it. So yeah, you can see, you'll be able to see, especially in qualifying, when drivers are coming out on a set of used tyres, like we normally do see in Q2 as an example, the first run in Q2. They normally go out on a set of used tyres, get a banker lap in, and then they go on their last run on a brand new set. But that's you can easily tell that even without the slash for it, because a brand new set of tyres isn't going to be starting on with a number against it. It will be a 0. So, how are Williams looking? Where are they at the moment? 6th and 9th. Yeah, I mean, they looked strong yesterday, didn't they? They looked strong, the Williams. I think they're comfortably the best of the rest. I mean, the one they really need to keep an eye out on is Hadjar, because he seems to be very in tune with that RB car here, even after his wobble yesterday. But yeah, they look very strong, the Williams. I think they should be looking at picking up a decent haul of points here this weekend. Who do I think Cadillac will pick next year out of this year's rookies? I don't think they'll pick any rookies, to be honest with you. I think the best thing for Cadillac is just to go for 2 experienced drivers. That's my opinion, and then maybe have a rookie as a reserve driver. But I think it's a very big gamble for Cadillac to try and get a rookie in, especially as they are a brand new team. You want some experienced drivers to try and establish yourself as an F1 team and make yourself look a bit more admirable to other drivers. What is up with the 2 columns? Current versus last run. Where is that? Where are you looking at that in particular? What, last lap versus best lap? Oh, sorry, the 2 columns. Sorry, the 2 columns are just like, so when they've pitted. So in practice, this doesn't really matter so much. But as you can see, everyone's kind of pretty much changing onto the same set of tyres or a brand new set of tyres. But in particular, when it comes to the race, if they've made a pit stop, you can see what tyre they've started on and what tyre they've then changed on to. So, yeah, it's not the be-all and end-all having two tyre columns. But evening, Glenn. Good to see you, mates. Do I think Gasly will qualify in the top 10? I think so. Yes, I think so. As Sainz moves up into P3, getting some lap times down there. Yeah, I do think so. As the Ferraris are still out there, by the way, doing some long runs here, Leclerc and Hamilton. So they're really trying to gather some data, the Ferrari drivers and the Ferrari team. Wonder if they'll dip in and maybe do some quali laps before this session is over and done with 21 minutes remaining. Do I think Max still has a chance? Yes, Max always has a chance. It's just whether or not... It's the thing, it's just whether or not he can keep those tyres, those soft tyres, in the right window for a whole lap. That's for a push lap. That's the problem that we saw yesterday, and that's what we're going to probably see here again. So, where do I think Gasly will qualify? I think Gasly can really mix it up. You know, I think he could maybe even qualify top 5, sneak a top 5. What are my top 3 favourite tracks? Silverstone, Red Bull Ring, on the F1 calendar. Silverstone, Red Bull Ring, and probably Bahrain. Yeah, because they just provide great races. and great racing. I can't think of any others. Circuit of the Americas is quite good as well. That provides some decent racing. That'd be up there. But right, let's keep an eye on George Russell, shall we? He's the first driver out there on a brand new set of softs, so we'll keep an eye out on him. Track temperature at the moment is 40 degrees. So that's what I mean. Like, it shot up to 44 degrees and now it's back down to 40. This is the track temperature is fluctuating quite dramatically. Now it's 39.4, so that can play a big factor in qualifying, or will play a big factor in qualifying later on this afternoon. I don't think the Ferrari are slower this year compared to last year. In relative terms, they are slower than last year. So on actual pace alone, they're quicker because all the cars are quicker than last year's cars. But in relative terms to their competitors, I mean, they've made the cars slower, haven't they? So, is the Ferrari a write-off this season? Pretty much. I think the reason they're putting a lot of development into the car still, is because they don't want to go a season without any race wins. Like, they still want to win Monza, they still want to win here, like Monaco. Like, they don't want to have a winless season. Oh, as Hadjar has been reported in the pit lane, he didn't see the Williams as he was doing ace. Oh, nearly. But let's keep an eye on George Russell, shall we? He's on a set of softs. So 23.921 for him. That puts him a tenth, or no, just less than a tenth behind Max Verstappen in the first sector. The second sector for him only puts him into P4 behind Piastri, Max and Norris as it currently stands. So he's a couple of tenths down already, pretty much, on this set of soft compound tyres, as Verstappen is also out on a set of softs now as well. So we're getting these quali runs. Piastri also out there on a set of softs. But let's keep an eye on George. Has he backed out here? Is he backed out? It looks like he might have backed out. I think George actually has backed out. George has backed out of his lap. So, yeah, not happy with it. And he's diving back into the pit lane. So, did he have a wobble somewhere? Let's have a look. Oh, he went through the gravel quite considerably through the Variante Alta chicane, which is turn 14 and 15. So George Russell backed out there after dipping a wheel into the gravel. He was under control of the car, but it was enough to slow him down and not worth pushing to the finish line. Imagine Oscar and Lando on pole. They both crash into turn 1 and George's P3 becomes the race leader. Well, as George seems to be doing this season, he does nothing and then gets a podium. That's the meme at the moment. So, right, so let's keep an eye out on the lap time, shall we? As Piastri's about to start a flying lap here. Alex Albon is on a push lap will be on a push lap as well, as he's on his out lap. Carlos Sainz is still doing some long runs on a set of mediums, but let's keep an eye on Piastri, shall we? And Verstappen, who is not far behind. So Piastri making his way through the first couple of corners there, Tamburello, turn 2 and turn 3, as he heads down into the very fast left and right of turn 5 and turn 6, and he heads into the braking zone of turn 7, the hairpin. And that is 2 tenths quicker in the first sector than Max Verstappen. But Max Verstappen is not far behind him. Let's see if he can improve on that time. He can. So look at that. 2 thousandths of a second separating Piastri and Verstappen in that first sector. Super, super tight, as George Russell is stating. The car is worse than yesterday. So he's not happy with that Mercedes at the moment. But Oscar Piastri making his way through Acqua Minerale and up into Variante Alta, which is the chicane we just mentioned with George Russell having a wobble. But it does seem like Piastri has backed out of it. It is a very slow middle sector. Not entirely sure what happened to Piastri there. I will keep an eye out for you. But Max Verstappen is still pushing, and he's only done a 26.2 in that middle sector. So he's also had a bit of a wobble, Max, through that middle sector. So watching to see what Piastri did through Acqua Minerale. And I think he went wide. So Oscar Piastri just too aggressive into the turn 12 corner, Acqua Minerale, and Max Verstappen doesn't improve there also with a 15.2. So both of the drivers there trying to lean on that soft compound tyre. Maybe it's the tyre just giving way a little bit, and they're just not got the grip where they need it. A fine balancing act needs to be done on these soft compound tyres. It is the quicker tyre, but yeah, a lot of management is required, even over a single lap, I think. George is always ready to nab a podium. He is indeed, Lily. Good to see you, by the way. Today, Mercedes seems third or fourth fastest on a race pace. They weren't the best either. Yeah, I mean, it could be a battle between the Ferraris and the Mercedes. I mean, the Ferraris are now out there, or Leclerc is out there on a set of softs. So we're seeing some push laps coming our way, guys, as Yuki's starting to push laps. Let's keep an eye on him as he heads down into turn 2. Let's see, single lap pace, if the Ferraris' changes overnight have had a desired effect. Because Charles was a bit off the pace yesterday. So let's see how they get on. But guys, if you are enjoying this stream, as always, please hit that like and subscribe. I'm 1,600 of you in the stream right now. Let's get this stream to 1,000 likes. It'd be much appreciated. And hit the subscribe button. And if you haven't and you want to support the stream further, you can hit the join button and become a member, or support me on Patreon as well. Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. Right, so Norris is pushing, but he's similarly lost a bit of time in the middle sector compared to the mediums that he was on previously. But this does look like it's going to be an improvement. And it is a first time under 15 seconds. You can see there that last sector purple, maybe not going as fast in the first sector or the middle sector there, just allows him to have a bit more tyre life at the end of the lap. As Oscar Piastri is going to go again on this lap, as Charles Leclerc will also be starting. Yuki Tsunoda, unfortunately, has had to back out due to traffic, by the looks of it, which is a real shame for him, as he was looking to improve, but overall, it wasn't particularly a quick lap, as Colapinto goes up into P12. But let's keep an eye on Piastri again. Let's see. So it's a second push lap for Piastri on this. He did only really do half a push lap on the previous attempt. So let's see if he still has enough life in those soft compound tyres. As he did a 23.715 in the first sector, which is still quicker than Lando's fastest first sector, by the way, guys. That's still very good from Oscar Piastri. Now, can he keep it within track limits here through Acqua Minerale, turn 12, where he dipped a wheel on the gravel last time and had to back out of the lap as Alonso moves up into P9. Hamilton starting his flying lap as well. Charles Leclerc does a 24.70. So Charles Leclerc has had an issue or an off through a lack of control through the first sector. Unless it's not a push lap from him and I don't know if he's backed out of it there. As Tsunoda's complaining, I have zero pace, man. So Tsunoda not happy with his car at all. As Lewis Hamilton does a 23.9 and Piastri goes P3. So not quite got the pace in that second push lap on those softs, on those C6s. But Lewis Hamilton, 23.9 in the first sector. Let's see, Lewis. Let's see how he does it here then. So, down into turn 12, Acqua Minerale. We will get that second sector time any second now as he makes his way up into Variante Alta, the chicane. And it's a 26.144. So a couple of attempts slower than the McLarens and Max Verstappen, which is what I would put the Ferrari at the moment. I don't think there's going to be any miracles here this weekend, unfortunately, guys. Sorry to Fossey. As there's a double yellow. As who's gone off there? Is that just due to a lot of gravel? Has someone thrown up a lot of gravel there? Maybe that was Lewis Hamilton's thrown up a lot of gravel through that corner. As Hamilton goes 115.820. So yeah, I think Lewis has just thrown up a load of gravel there. What was that last sector? 25.7. Yeah, he's lost 3 temps on his fastest last sector there in that lap. So Lewis has just lost a lot of time there, a heap of time in that chicane, and I think I'm waiting to see a replay. I think that's what happened to him. So nobody seems to care for the softs. No, you're right, Carlito. They don't seem to provide much more than the mediums. No, not at all. And the problem is like, will we see the mediums be used? But then it's also a race tyre. But we know also how important track position is in F1 at the moment. So, yes, what will the teams do? That's going to be interesting to see. Everyone's complaining about understeer on the soft after the first sector. Yeah, I guess it's a real tricky one, isn't it, Connor? Because they're having to go so slow to ensure that they don't spike get too much temperature in the tyres on the start of the lap, because they need the tyre to last the whole duration. But if they haven't got temperature in them to start the lap, then they're going to get that understeer in the first corner or the first sector, where there's that real change of direction that's required. So, yeah, it's such a fine balancing act, isn't it, at the moment? I do think, and I said this, I do think that it'll probably be beneficial for the teams that don't think they're going to get through to Q3 to try and start on the medium, or try and do qualifying on the medium, because it's just going to be track position so key, and if they're going to be able to make that tyre last for the whole lap rather than the soft, like, why wouldn't you just use that medium and then just see how you get on in the race, even if you're having to sacrifice one of those tyres or one of those sets? McLaren are the only ones improving. Surprise, surprise. But Antonelli up into P4, but still half a second back from Lando Norris. So we have 9 minutes remaining of this session, guys. Hope you're enjoying it. 1,700 of you in here. Lovely, lovely. Welcome, welcome. Qualifying in a few hours' time. Am I 100% British, or do I have other roots? I am, as far as I'm aware. I mean, no one's 100% British, but I'm yeah, majority British. I don't have any other. Yeah, my mum and dad are English, and my grandparents were. So yeah, I think I do. My dad did like a ancestry thing years ago, and I think there's like roots back to somewhere in the Mediterranean. So I do tan quite easily. But yeah, thank you, Anna. Much appreciated. Oh, what's that one there? Oh, that's a shame. My wife, she's English as well. Yeah. Hey, so welcome everyone. Hope you're doing well. You're tired of being a Ferrari fan. I'll wear my Ferrari top for the qualifying. Maybe we can bring some good luck for them. I mean, I didn't bring good luck for them in Miami, but maybe it'll be a change of fortune for qualifying, eh? Why aren't the soft surviving or 2 or more push laps? They're dying out before Sector 3 even begins. What's going on? So it's because we're on the C6 claw. So this is the first time we've seen the C6 used this season. It's a new compounder tyre for this year to try and promote some unpredictability nature and provide better racing and more options to strategy when it comes to like the tracks that are normally boring one-stops that we've seen in the past. But what comes with that is the unknown and the fact of it, yes, as we've seen through a few tyres over the previous few seasons with Pirelli, yeah, they don't really. They're just struggling. There's a fine balancing act, and we saw it in Melbourne as well, where the tyres just fall off at the end. And McLaren, with their superior cooling of the brakes and the tyres at the moment, are just able. They're the only team able to really push for a whole lap. Max has done very well to do what he's done in P2, but I still feel like there's more in the tank for the McLarens. But yeah, we'll see. Never rule Max out. You have to pick between Lando, Oscar, and Max. Who would I pick? Oh, I need context for that. Yeah. Do you mean for pole position? For pole position, I mean, I'm still picking Lando. I'm backing Lando. It could easily be Piastri. I think if Lando, it's easy to say if he shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you know, I think if Lando cuts out the mistakes, I think he is the faster driver than Piastri at the moment. That's not to take anything away from Piastri, because you have to cut out those mistakes, which Piastri has done. He's so much more consistent. But I still think Lando just has that edge in raw pace, but he's not able to maximise it. Max, we know, has that raw pace. We know he has that talent. And he is forcing the McLarens into not making those mistakes. He's putting the pressure on, and he's still in this championship. So Max did his fast lap on mediums. No, it was on softs. He did the 15.0. No, he did. Sorry. Yeah, he did. Sorry, Connor. Yeah, you're right. He did. Yeah. Hey, we're all the way from Kenya. Nice to see you. I I'm not going to talk about politics, Letty. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about politics. I'll talk F1 politics, but all that other stuff, yeah, we keep that away from this stream. It's not what we do here. FIA should mandate a 2 pit stop strategy. It would make things very interesting at Imola, for sure. But I don't think it's. I mean, it's not really worth it, is it now? At Imola, I think Imola's going to be off the calendar after this year. So Hamilton only up into P10. So the Ferrari's not really able to make the most out of these softs at the moment. I think you could see the Ferraris try and use the mediums, you know. I think we are going to see a lot of drivers use the mediums. I mean, you've... Track position's so key. I just don't know why you wouldn't try and use the mediums. I think that's the way a lot of teams are going to go. I think McLaren and Red Bull will probably stick to the softs, but... Yeah. I did say mediums will be faster this weekend, even over 1 lap, depending on tyre wear. Yeah, exactly that. It's the temperatures. It's just the temperatures. I mean, the medium is the soft of last year. So, they're familiar with it. They've run the C5 already this year, as Piastri goes up into P2. On a set of used softs, by the way. So, they're the only... Yeah, as Connor said, they're the only team that are improving on sets of used softs, so... why are Ferrari now using new tyres with high loads? I'm not sure if... I mean, they obviously want to gather some data. The drivers want to get any... It's always kind of the rhythm as well. Like, you don't want to be doing slow laps, then heading straight into quali and having to go on the limit. You want to at least try to be on the limit and get some laps where you're on the limit as you come to the end of a practice session, so that then you're feeling fresh when you head into qualifying in a few hours' time. So... C6 may not be affected, but will definitely add more fun to quali. Yeah, I think so. I think we could see a real change up of the order. As I'm watching Lewis now, as he went through the last couple of corners. And yeah, you're just starting to see... I mean, you're starting to see lots of drivers dip a wheel into the gravel through the last sector as the tyres are just starting to give way. You're starting to see the rear start to twitch a little bit. Lewis says, I might have floor damage. I went a bit wide. But I think that's... I think he should be okay. If he got floor damage from that, that'd be very unfortunate. Just dipping the wheel slightly into the gravel through turn 18. But yeah. Track temp dropping. Yeah, 37.9 degrees. That will help. Should help with lap times. I mean, but we've seen it fluctuate so much, the track temperature, in this session alone. Just with the sun going in and out behind the clouds. Do I think there'll be a safety car in this race? There's always a potential of a safety car, yeah. We're very limited with how big these cars are and, of course, the way the racing rules are at the moment. We've seen some spins, of course, in quali already. In quali, not quali. Practice yesterday and today as well. So, yeah, it could happen. Please explain tyre management. So, tyre management... So, the drivers cannot push 100% for every single lap on their tyres. If they do, then the life of the tyre, the grippiness of the tyre will just fall away and they'll destroy it and they'll ultimately go slower for longer. What they have to do is they have to try and manage the tyre, so not lean on it as much, so not push, not go as quick, so it can be just holding back on your throttle application out of certain corners and not using as much steering, not going as quick through the corners to ensure that you're not using up the grip of the tyre as much. Now, what we're talking about in relation to qualifying is very unique because you don't normally hear about qualifying where they have to manage the tyres. But what they have to do on this C6 tyre, the softest compound we have in F1 this season, what they have to do is that they have to ensure that they don't overheat the tyre on their outlap, because the tyre is struggling to hold on to its maximum level of grip for the duration of a whole lap, which is why we're starting to see some issues with like little offs, dipping the wheel into the gravel and twitchiness of the cars as they get to the end of the lap, where there's more corners that requires that level of grip. So it's a fine balancing act that we don't normally see in qualifying. Have to use an allocation of sauce. We'll probably start with them, but then save mediums for last push in quali. Yeah. So Basically the tyre is too soft, and it's having too much energy put through the tyre that it's giving up at the end of a lap. Now, the mediums, which are slightly harder, of course, than the softs, they're able to push for a whole... They're not seeing that fall off of the tyre throughout the whole duration of a push lap. And that's why we think we could see the medium compounds be used in qualifying, which we very rarely see. So, unique circumstances. How is the medium potentially faster than the soft over one lap? Because it's more durable. It's lasting. So it is the soft comp. It's still soft enough at this circuit because we've gone one step softer this year. It's still soft enough that it's able to maintain the energy put through it compared to the soft. This level of compound of soft, which is the C6, which the drivers have never used before this weekend. So, but that's it, guys. That is it. 0 down on the counter. That is it for today. Well, for this practice free session. We'll be back, of course, in a few hours' time for qualifying. We're not going to dip off just yet, but you can see that Lando there, P1 with Oscar Piastri, P2, 1/10 exactly separating the two McLaren drivers. The only drivers to get under the 1:15-second mark, and the only drivers who were improving at all on that soft compound tyre. So I do think that they have a substantial margin over the rest of the field here because of those reasons we just mentioned of that tyre management that is required on the soft, unless someone's able to really put in a decent time on the mediums. But even then, the McLarens would be able to go just as quick, if not quicker, on the mediums. But Verstappen set his fastest time, interestingly, on those mediums, not on the softs, in P3. With Antonelli in P4, half a second back. The top three separated by just under 2/10, but then Antonelli half a second back with Charles Leclerc P5 as well. Sainz in 6th. I tell you what, keep an eye on the Williams for qualifying later on. And Isaac Hadjar as well. They could put a spanner amongst the works here among the big boys. With George Russell in P8 behind Isaac Hadjar. Alex Albon in P9. Hamilton P10. The Ferraris, lots of work still required for those two. Alonso P11. Interesting, Alonso as well, just showcasing how good of a driver he is. He doesn't have any updates on the Aston Martin this weekend. They're all on Lance Stroll's car. Ollie Behrman in P12. He needs a decent qualifying because we know that Haas is good in race trim, but needs a decent qualifying performance after a poor one in Miami. Lance Stroll, 13th. Lawson, 14th, getting outperformed by his teammate at the moment, so he needs to dig deep this afternoon. Gasly, P15. Doesn't maybe look like he was able to get a decent run in there, push lap in, but I do expect Gasly to make it through to Q3 as he's looking pretty solid in there. Alpine. Bortoletto, 16th. Tsunoda complaining about the car considerably. It's been a very topsy-turvy weekend for him already. Poor in FP1, much better in FP2, poor in FP3. Can he have a decent qualifying? We will see. Colapinto in P18. Don't expect much from him here this weekend as it's his first race in F1 this season. Hulkenberg 19th and Esteban Ocon in P20. And that is it for FP3, guys. Stream could do with some more likes. It could indeed, Job. By the way, Job, I do apologise. I missed your donation last week in Miami. The missus pointed it out to me, so I do apologise. Thank you for that last weekend, buddy. No one pushing on soft, just fighting to keep control. The only ones are the McLaren. So we'll see. The soft is a quicker tyre. It is, if you can make it last. And there seems to be one team that can do that. And that is the McLaren. So, yeah. We will see. Finca Management has running 800 metres versus 100 metres. 100 metres is like quali. You go all out. 800 metres is like the race, where you have to preserve energy a bit while going as quick as possible. What a great analogy. I'm going to use that moving forward. Well, thank you, Sen Joshua. Yes, that's very, very on point. So, how long till quali? About 3 hours, I think. Less than 3 hours. So, 3 o'clock is... So, we'll be live at 2:30, I think, is what I said I'll be going live at. So, we've got live. Yeah, I think it's 2:30. Oh, why have I got FP1 in there? Hang on. Hang on a second. I've got it labelled as FP1, but it's actually FP2. There we go. There we go. All saved. Yeah, we'll be live at 2:30. Let me share this for you guys, so in the chat, so you can head over there. That's what I mean. If we had data available where we could actually, if we had data available where we could watch F3 and F2 and so forth, I would do watch-alongs for them 100%. I'd be live all day. But unfortunately, at the moment, it's not available for us, which is a shame. Yeah, I'll show you the sector times. Bear with me. Bear with me. So that is the stream that you can head on over and bookmark, guys. Let's show you the sector leaderboard. So here we are, and well, as you can see, the McLarens dominating quite up high there. Interestingly, Vert Piastri at 5.311 there, 3 tenths off of Norris in the last sector, which is quite intriguing. Verstappen quick in the first sector. That was set on the mediums, not on the softs. And I think also Piastri's first sector was also set on the mediums. Verstappen's fastest first sector was set on the softs, but then he lost time as it went on. But yes, they're very quick up there. Sainz and Albon. Look at Sainz and Albon. A bit slower in the middle sector as they're running, I think, a little bit less downforce than most. So they're going to be tricky to overtake in the first sector for sure. I hope they can pass because it's rubbish here. Yeah, hopefully they can. I mean, that's what I mean. Really, I think for us to have the best race tomorrow, or the most interesting race, it will be... I think it will primarily be Max on pole. We need Max on pole because otherwise it's going to be a pretty boring race. I hope not. I hope I'm very wrong. But I think that's the potential. So, but yeah, thank you guys. What's the time on my side now? It's 12:30. It's just gone 12:30. Yeah. Lawson less than 1 second behind Hadjar. Yeah, but I mean that's that. Let's have a look at the speed traps as you can see here, and well, Colapinto fastest. So the Alpines are quick, as are the Ferraris as well. So the Ferraris would be a tricky car to get by, but if they're not up there anyway, what does it matter? So I have low expectations, Dusko. So hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised. But yeah, there we go. That is it, guys. So big thank you as always. I am going to go and have some lunch. I suggest you guys go and do the same, or some dinner, get some sustenance, and we'll be back in a few hours' time. But yes, the McLarens do look to be quickest, as we predicted, especially at a circuit where the soft compound tyre is not seeming to last a full push lap. So something to keep an eye on in qualifying is who's going to decide to use that medium compound tyre. But I think because of that reason, we could see a real change-up, a real shake-up of the qualifying and the grid order for tomorrow. And of course, it's always a very busy circuit here. We saw Oscar Piastri arguably get pole position last year, but he got a penalty for impeding, and we could see the same in qualifying again in a few hours' time. Hadjar did the same, but hit the wall yesterday. Yeah. But keep an eye on Hadjar, keep an eye on the... I think we could see some shocks. I think we could see some shocks in this qualifying session in a few hours' time, guys. So yes, hit that like and subscribe button as always. Much appreciated for everyone who keeps tuning in, and we'll be back in a few hours. We'll see you then. Cheers, guys. Bye. Unbelievable, Adrian. Thank you. 42 months. Unbelievable.